Hey, Ben here. In this video, we are going to talk about 3 different breathwork techniques that can help you to reduce anxiety and do it fairly quickly. So, I'm going to kick it off with the first one because breathwork, breathing techniques, this is a topic that has really been on the rise, and there's a ton of rabbit holes that one could go down. In recent research that was done at UCSF, they found where they examined a lot of different types of breathwork techniques. Some of them will mention that one of the simplest, one of the most effective ones is simply to take a long, slow exhale. So simple. And one of the things that the researchers mentioned was that in this case, it's actually best not to necessarily count to a very specific beat or think that you have to do it in a very specific way. Instead, to experiment a little bit and to find what way works best with you.
Yeah.
But as a guideline, exhaling for, you can start with a count of like 7 or 8 seconds, and then eventually when you get into the rhythm of it, you don't have to count anymore. But I'll just demonstrate for 1 or 2 cycles.
Yeah.
It'll look something like this: a deep, slow inhale followed by a longer exhale. It'll be like,
Beautiful. It's beautiful, isn't it?
and you'll notice that one thing I did here was I pursed my lips together here. Sometimes when you're starting out, it can help to add a little bit of resistance. So just by narrowing the pathway that the air is flowing out through, you're creating a little bit of resistance that just helps you to elongate that breath. But it is literally as simple as that. You take a natural breath in, not an overly big sized breath in, just a natural breath, and you take a long, slow exhale. That is technique number 1 that has proven to be extremely effective based on research.
Yeah, I mean, that's my favorite technique, and I've been doing breath work for a long time, but sometimes all you need is just one slow exhale. The next technique is called box breathing. I also do really love this technique because there is going to be a little bit of counting involved, and oftentimes if you're in that state of anxiety and maybe your brain's going a little bit haywire, you've got some narratives going on, when you have to stop and count, those narratives will tend to fall by the wayside because you have to be consciously aware of that counting. So box breathing, essentially, all you're going to do is you're going to inhale through your nose for a count of 4, whatever your count of 4 is, but try to make it as accurate as you possibly can. And then at the top of that inhale, you're going to pause for a count of 4. So same thing, you're at that top of the inhale, you've paused, you're going to count to 4, and then you're going to exhale for a count of 4, and then you're going to hold at the bottom for a count of 4 as well. So you can see why they call it box breathing. And again, that's really going to calm the nervous system, but it's also going to get you out of that it's going to get you out of that subconscious mind where those thoughts might be running a little bit haywire. It's going to bring you into that conscious state where all you're focused on is your breathing and your counting.
Yeah, I love this one. And also, you made a really good point about helping you get out of anxiety because your mind is now focused on the count. And also I've heard that you can even visualize a box in front of you, and as you're inhaling, right, you can actually just imagine a little spot or pointer or something traveling up one side of the box. At the top, as you're counting across, you can see that spot moving 4 seconds across the top, down the other side as you exhale, and then as you hold at the bottom, same thing. So you're getting kind of a visual engagement.
Love it.
You're getting, of course, the breath and the somatic engagement, and then you're also getting your mind just focused on the slow count.
Yeah, that's great.
And the last one that we're going to share in these top 3 breathing techniques to reduce anxiety is a double inhale at the top of the breath. This is something that Dr. Andrew Huberman talks a lot about on his podcast for the reason that it has been extensively researched and shown to calm anxiety. So for this one, you would take a longer, slightly fuller inhale, and at the very top, take a little extra inhale of air. So you've expanded your lungs, and then you just take one more little in-breath. And what this does is it does a few things. It gives your brain a little bit of a pattern to lock onto. It also, of course, brings in a little bit more oxygen to increase the flow of oxygen and nutrients to your brain. And lastly, it actually, somewhat counterintuitively, creates a little bit of tension, creates a little bit of adrenaline in the system, which has this something known as a rebound effect. So sometimes if we are trying to relax or reduce anxiety, rather than just trying to start where we are and calm ourselves down, it can actually help to create just a little bit of tension for a split second, and that will help, think of like a heart rate, move the needle up and then allow us to naturally settle back down.
Yeah.
So that's double inhale breathing. Give these ones a try. Again, like we said at the beginning, I think the most important thing is for you to experiment, use these as a starting point, and see what works best for you.